Welcome back. Episode It's episode 18 now, I think we're on.
Mad.
That is a big
Hiding
improvement.
from. Are we?
Well, I'd say compared to episode like 1, we've come a long
We.
way. I think I was meant to say
Alright,
we've
yeah.
come a long way.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
I mean, in terms of,
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of confidence in speaking in front of an audience, whether it's live or not, I feel like I've improved on.
Yeah. Although right now we've only got an audience of 2, so it doesn't feel too intimidating.
But in terms of you like portraying your opinion on a topic, and other people, like from anyone in the world, could view it if they have the internet, and like being confident in what
Yeah,
you're saying on camera as well, depending what you're listening
yeah,
on. But I think I've improved in that sector.
yeah. Well, I hope so. I think it's good. Yeah, it definitely helps me articulate my point of view, and it's quite good for understanding the skill set that was required for debate and that sort of stuff. So
Yep.
I'm very grateful, whatever, for the experience you've got.
Yeah,
Sure.
I quite enjoy it. Today's topic though,
Yeah,
we don't have a guest.
yeah. This is an interesting one. I've not really. I'm getting blind for this.
That's
Fully
good. That's
blind.
fine. I'm happy to lead the way. I think
Alright.
I'm quite involved with this, and I'm quite
Yeah, you've got
intrigued and
all
to
your
get.
trading stuff, so you're probably
It's more interesting because, well, let's just say the topic first. The topic is, I've called it, what if there was no money? So, and by that I mean, what if we had no currencies in the world? So
sure.
I'm talking like, I don't know, pound, like Great British pound, US dollar, Japanese
Anything.
yen, anything. Like the whole world. What if we had none?
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, our world used to not have money. Like we used to have
No
none.
way.
No way. That
Yeah,
was
that's
ages ago though. But yeah,
that's believable.
and I wanted to. I'll have like little segments of what I want to sort of lead into. But
Yeah, sure.
the overall topic is, what if there was no money? Because ultimately, money runs this world. It runs this society that we live in. Without money, it would crumble, like completely crumble. It would be an apocalypse day one
Yeah.
if there was no money. Like imagine, I don't know if you've seen Mr. Robot, because
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
remember? I can't even
I
remember what
haven't
season.
watched. No, don't spoil it though.
Oh really?
Don't.
Oh
I'm only
okay,
like
okay,
I'm only like 2 seasons in, so.
okay. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I can't even
Alright.
explain my point now without spoiling it.
Alright.
Just move off that.
Yeah, don't, no, you gotta spoil it like that.
Ah, you're right. You're
You're
right.
supposed to dab, by the way. You got to dab
I've got a dab. I've got a dab.
and check your posture, fam. You are leaning
Check
off a bit, aren't you? Yeah,
check
come
on.
on.
Let's go. I have hella money. I know you do, bro. Oh, another dab. Another
Uh,
dab. Oh, mate, my neck's gonna be hurting by the end of that.
Another one.
Oh my god! How many dabs we? Oh, another one. We're getting rinsed on the podcast today.
Oh shit! Hold on.
That's
It's
4.
getting a bit. Yeah, it's getting a bit excessive.
So
Oh,
in terms of society, we've obviously developed over time. Um, from back in the day, where I say back in the day, this is age. I'm talking before. Let's just say BC. Whatever, like 5,000 BC,
yeah.
something like that. Where
5,000.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 5,000 BC. That's like 7,000 years ago, right?
I mean, yeah, sure. I'm just saying that it's that's a very very long time ago.
Yeah. Well, humans apparently have existed for, holy shit, 200,000 years.
Yeah, but I
Uh,
think surely is that not you know including our descendant?
I see you mean, what, like monkeys?
Oh no, sorry, our ancestors. No, not monkeys, but just sort of like I don't know. I'm not entirely sure on the timeline of human race and how we've evolved, etc. So
Mhm. But
yeah,
what I was saying was,
very long time ago, no
very
money.
long time ago, there was people. I mean, humans around that time, we didn't have currency, and so
No,
the way that their society worked was bartering, which is, I'll give an example. Like, imagine you're a farmer, you grow chickens, and you say, you breed chickens. You breed chickens,
Yeah, look
and
at that chicken head popping up out of the grass. It's gonna be a big chicken. You could trade that for what? If hold on, let me come and see your donkey field, fam.
yeah, literally. So this is where it comes. I'll tell you the problems in a minute. So basically, we had people that breeded chickens, and then we have like Alan down the street who, I don't know, grew
You
corn.
reckon in 5000 BC there's blokes called Alan running about?
You never know, bro. You never know.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
And so these people used to say, "Oh, I don't have these chickens." So, or in terms of chicken, I mean egg. I don't have eggs, but I have corn, and I want that egg. So how do I get that egg? I offer a bit of corn for the egg, right?
Yeah,
And that's the basis of bartering, right? Like that's just trading, you know. Like that's like
yeah, I get you.
the dead simple. And obviously with
Exchange of goods
exchange of goods,
which
yeah.
are in possession. Yeah,
And obviously we have evolved in many aspects. And the way we evolved with this one
we
was
have. Yeah,
we just had humans. I guess it's sort of survival of the fittest, where you have your certain humans that say, "Hold on, but what if I don't want Alan's corn? Like, what if I want, what if I want something better?" And they start questioning, saying, "But how come why is one of my eggs worth one of his corn?"
yeah.
You know? And so that's how it started evolving, where those humans started questioning the system, basically.
But surely it would be based on like common knowledge. So the idea of one egg being worth 100 grams of corn was based on the fact that it was common knowledge around that time. Obviously, this isn't. I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm just sort of giving you an example in a hypothetical example. So they say, all right, so 100 grams of corn is equal to one egg because it gives you the same. It feeds you for the same amount of time. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's
I
enough
see what you
food
mean.
for say one person for one day, or 3 eggs is enough for one person one day, and so is 200 grams of corn. Like whatever you mean. So there'd be like a known value, practical application value, because that was the thing about bartering, isn't it? So bartering worked back then to a degree because everything was very base level. Like you wanted to survive, so you needed food, right?
Yep.
So all you wanted to do is just get by, and then you're valuing everything you're trading based on the pure survival. I don't know how to word it, but the pure benefits it gives you in terms of survival. So like will it feed you? Will it give you a safe place to sleep? Will it provide you water? The base things that we need to survive.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. So in terms, we don't. I guess we don't know how they were thinking back then. Is it
Yeah.
okay? So just for this example, it slowly evolved because people just started questioning, or maybe it's greed, like they're wanting more for their product because they thought. I guess,
You think it was greed?
well, if someone's thinking, "Oh, my egg's worth more than your corn," like that's greedy, isn't it? Even if they both like fill someone's stomach up the same amount.
Well, yeah, but I guess that also, I'm not sure it's so simple because if you're just given that hypothetical example, then the person will say, "Well, we both know that my egg is equal to your 100 grams of corn in terms of pure nutrients or pure um like food stuffs quantity. Therefore, if you're saying that I should be paying you like 200 grams for one egg, that's not fair, and I'm going to go somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. But
Like,
then again, did they even have grams back then? Did they even have some sort of
I'm
measurement?
not, what I mean. I'm talking
Yeah.
hypothetically. I'm not
Okay.
talking like
Yeah.
applications. They would,
You make a
they'd
good
say
point.
like one handful, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Uh. Yeah. That's a good point. To be fair. But let's just. How do I even explain this? Because we don't know. We weren't obviously alive. There's no evidence. I get just from a
No.
theorist point of view that they just people sort of questioned it. Uh. just question that whole idea of bartering, and
Yeah,
because it's a I think it's because it's such a simple, like you said, it's a very simple way of living because it's just simple product for product. Like it's just survival. It's like the basis of survival. It's not
yeah, yeah,
a capitalist, I guess, right? Because there's no, well, nowadays there's no money involved. Back then,
yeah,
so no one's benefiting off it in terms of this monetary value that we have in our heads now. It's just literally dead basis of survival.
yeah. I think
Um,
that's what. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I
that's
meant.
what you
Yeah.
would, yeah. And so well, I don't know if you remember if you took history in school, but we got taught about
Mm,
the
I didn't do.
Mayans, yeah, the
I didn't.
Mayans and stuff.
I didn't do. I didn't do that on mine.
Like not loads, but like just the basis of the history of
No,
the
I've
Aztecs
literally
and
never learned about the Aztec.
really okay, but they
Yeah.
were, I believe they were one of the first people. I'm probably wrong, watch me, but they were one of the first people that invented or you started to use metal as a form of currency. So obviously
Right.
we have our famous one that we use now still to this day, which is gold, because
Yeah.
gold was so shiny and rare that people thought this must be. They just I guess literally just a shiny attribute lured people into using it and saying,
I think
oh, this
it's
is
just
worth more.
physically attractive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's yeah,
So it's just become like a universally desired substance. So when you've got that, you can use it as a basis for acting as like a basically like I mean, oh man, it's gonna be so hard to word this, but it's like a proxy for whatever you're trading. So instead of saying, okay, so I know my one sheep is worth, half a bag of corn, but I want to get a cow, but I don't know how many sheep to trade. Like, I don't know how many sheep's worth a cow.
yeah,
So instead of that, they just say, okay, well, I know. So then, they set the system out where they're like, okay, well, I know my sheep is worth half a gold coin. And I also know, because of the way things are, that one cow is worth two gold coins. So then it's just like this basis, it's common ground, isn't it?
yeah, I see that.
That's what they're looking for, because I think that's the problem with bartering, isn't it? Is that you have no. It's hard to apply outside of a decided context, which is sort of is settled upon through a lot of experience. So if you want to make a new trade, it'll be hard. If you're doing something for the first time, like you're exchanging two things which haven't been exchanged before, then obviously you've got no basis on which
Yeah.
to understand the concepts of how much you're trading and the values of each thing in comparison to each other.
So yeah, I guess that's where maybe that's where the problem sort of came about, where someone said like what like I said I said before, where he didn't want Alan's corn, he wanted like carrots or something instead. Where's the basis of how much is an egg worth to carrots? Like you said,
Yeah,
so we obviously metals got found, and eventually these metals turned into coins, and the coins didn't have the value that they do today, but they were just like in the sort of best thing I can view it is like Pirates of the Caribbean or like some like pirates where they had like gold coins and stuff, using that to using that to trade goods between each other.
yeah,
So like, oh, this bottle of rum's worth like 3 gold coins, you know.
yeah,
But that's a lot more recent compared to the bartering. And then eventually, surprisingly, our currency is literally like not even 200 years old. I'm pretty sure. Our current um sort of way of using currencies is like notes. So we form notes. I didn't say we didn't form notes. It was the Americans. It was, I'm pretty sure it was Abraham Lincoln. When he
really,
was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was definitely the 1800s. My man got assassinated as well, didn't he?
yeah. John Wilkes Booth, was it? I'm
Is that
just
who?
trying to try. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just one of those.
So
That's one of those things.
ah
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I was right. Okay, cool.
yeah. So they were called back then. They were called greenbacks, and that's when
Right.
they started printing these green paper currency, and that was the first time it was used in our world, and that was only 1860s. That was literally 160 years ago that we first started
Yeah,
using notes, and from then
yeah.
on we've obviously adapted them to now plastic. Our
Notes and
ones are
coins,
plastic.
though.
Huh?
Notes and coins still.
Yeah, notes and coins still, but the coins actually have each coin has like a you can see what the coin's worth on the coin as well. Whereas back then it was just a melted coin and it's just in the shape of a coin, and we there was no like proper.
So was it so did it work out that one coin, the actual value of the material the coin was made out of, was representative of how much the coin was actually worth?
Yeah,
Or
I feel like yeah, because you remember. You don't remember. Well, obviously we don't remember, but I don't know if you watched films, especially I'm going to link to Pirates of the Caribbean where they say like, oh, here's your copper, or here's your bronze, or like here's your silvers.
I don't think they do that.
I've definitely heard
I don't know.
that's
Maybe
mentioned
like
before. Because
maybe some silver. Yeah, some silver. I don't know about copper. I think like silver coins. That makes sense.
no, silver definitely no copper slash bronze because we still use that to this day as well.
Maybe I'm just being too picky. I'm just a bit of a yeah. I'm
Just
quite
go and
quite a Pirates
open-minded.
of the Caribbean fan,
Okay,
so
yeah,
I'm like
my
trying
bad. Yeah, yeah.
to I'm trying to think.
Because that's the
Did
only
it
thing I can
actually
think
happen?
of. But
No, I get what you mean. Like I don't know. It's like any sort of medieval fantasy show or film will have gold coins or something, won't they? They'll just have gold coins, nondescript, just coins with whoever imprints on it, and it's
yep,
just a definite value.
yeah, yeah,
And it's because of the actual value of the material itself, like we talked about, rather than what it represents in terms. Because obviously, the way that money works today is not that way at all. So,
it's completely
the
changed. Yeah,
yeah, the plastic note that you have is worth pretty much fuck all, but
but to
in
us,
terms of
it's
pure material, raw material, but in terms of what it represents, it's worth money. It's worth that is it's a structure that's been built up over a long time
yeah,
that now we understand that something that is not naturally valuable represents value.
yeah. That's the whole idea of us. I don't want to say capitalist environment, but
I
that's
mean,
just the whole. It's all it is, isn't it? Because without our the money that we have, there wouldn't be any capitalism. There wouldn't be. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Capitalism wouldn't
I
work
mean,
back in the
I don't
day
think
as
I
well.
think it does because it's all just sort of like just I feel like it would work in a lot of ways because it's just all you need is just a way to collect money, right? You need just all you need is the object or the resource which governs some sort of um, command over.
Yeah, that's true.
command
Actually,
over-
yeah,
So like even gold coins would allow for capitalism, like if they
yeah.
were just gold
And
coins.
I guess we saw that when we had like kings as rulers and stuff like that. They had a lot of gold, a lot of jewels,
Yeah, they did tend to. I mean, they still do. You think of like Queen Liz's collection of
crown jewels.
crown jewels and all that. Like,
Yeah,
phew, like in terms of raw value, all very
but
very
that
valuable.
raw value, we've created that idea of that raw value in our heads, right? There's no.
I mean, not necessarily because, like we talked about, the reason gold was chosen is because it's desirable and it's rare, and it looks good, and it feels good, and just everything about it, right? And the way that people use it in many different ways. So it's sort of just like it's like a globally accepted thing that gold is valuable because people want it. I'm not sure why we want it in reality. Like it's one of those strange things, isn't it? Because right now you could say like, I don't actually want gold, but I want a house.
Yep.
I don't want gold. I want a car. Because, but yeah, it's still it's the base of our economic system, which is
Yeah, it's a safe haven because of that reason, because it's so rare and it's so embedded in our history that we've used it throughout the centuries.
yeah. But is
And
it
it's
used now because of that, or is it used now
yeah,
because
now it's used
all
as
you need, all you need now, I guess, for the economy that we have, the modern economy is you need to base money on one common physical good that is monitored, controlled, and can be exchanged. But isn't it strange? It was so different back then that it wasn't about that. It was literally that money looked nice, people wanted money. Now it's money is a controlled resource which acts as the common ground, because across all these different currencies that are used in different current countries, money is the common ground.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, sorry, gold is the common ground.
Oh, gold has gone around for the whole world. Yeah. Not. You
Yeah,
mean? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because no matter where you go, if you take gold, you're gonna get whatever that gold is worth where you are,
Yep. But
and it's every all currencies trade based on gold, right? Do they not?
all currency based on gold. Not all of them. Well, not
Which
that you
ones are
can. Well, the main one that's used is obviously US dollar.
right?
But the thing, you made me think. If I go to, let's say, Japan and I use gold, I haven't seen,
What do you mean use gold?
as in I want to trade gold in to swap it my gold for yen.
Yep.
That would be different. It would be a different price to if I swapped it to dollar because of our new currency and the modern currencies that we have.
Yeah.
So there's no universal price for gold, if that makes sense. Because of the fact that we
Okay.
have so many different countries that use different currencies now, that if you
Yeah.
wanted to swap it in two different countries, you'd get a different amount.
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Which is really confusing because,
Yeah. Mate, the whole, all of trading and the economy confuses me massively, and I don't understand how people study it for so long and people understand it there's such the complex facets of it all, because it's all just all these minute details and strange ways that it works. Now it's so much more complex than it looks from the outside.
yeah, it is. It's quite interesting though, like some of the, especially when, I don't
No,
know if it is interesting, but I don't know if you know that if ever there's like right now, if when there's a problem with the virus, when the virus started popping up in like February, March, all the world was going down, but the price of
yeah,
gold was
yeah,
shooting up because of the
okay,
history of it, because everyone views it as a safe haven of a currency, and so people would buy gold because they know that that value is going to go up if the whole world's collapsing. Because at the end of the day, if all the economies collapse, gold would still
does that
hold its
make
value.
sense though? So if we fall if if the world and society falls into disarray, does it make sense that all that people are going to want a luxury resource that holds no other value, luxury and aesthetic? So why would it make sense that
Like,
when society is crumbling, that people don't want practical commodities?
okay, well, in terms of if we're just looking at terms of money, would you rather have some plastic notes that are worthless now or gold? They're basically turning their
No,
plastic
yeah,
notes
okay.
into a
No,
currency.
I understand that totally. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So yeah, I get you, because like I said, gold is what is the common denominator across all currencies. So no matter what currency you're using, gold is the underlying determinator of the value, right?
yeah,
So like you say, if people are unsure about the stability of certain currencies, especially the pandemic, where countries can be affected lopsidedly, like not equally,
yep.
then obviously people are going to heavily invest in gold, because you never know what's going to happen to each individual currency. But I'm talking in terms of, so if society really started to collapse, surely we'd see a drop in gold, because then it's less about this luxury resource and more about practical resources which we need to survive. Like I said, like water, like food, like transport, like survival, like shelter.
Yeah, I guess once if the world did just collapse, then you're right. There would even be I wouldn't even be able to look at the price of gold, or it would, like you said, it would be in term sort of worthless because we want those commodities to keep us alive. It'd be literally back to square one of
Yeah.
us, literally trying just to survive and bartering with other people what they have.
So do you think that even so, if society collapsed, right? Do you think that there would be people who would still accept a 20 quid note as exchange in an exchange?
For
So
what?
something I don't know. So if someone, so right, imagine right, we're in post-apocalyptic London.
Yeah.
People are running through the streets, looting, fires everywhere, and you see a guy grab the last, you know, tin of soup from the shelf, and you're like, you've got 5 quid in your pocket. You're like, here's 5 quid if you give me that. Do you think there were still people that would value it because of how established, you know, note and coin currency is in our lives as a society? Do you think, even though it places no value in that situation, in
Yeah.
the context,
I think it depends how fresh the apocalypse is. Like, 'cause some people it wouldn't
how fresh
click.
the apocalypse is?
Yeah, because it wouldn't click for some people. It wouldn't click straight away that this is worth nothing, so they would happily accept that.
Yeah, but do you know, I also think that there's a possibility that currency in some people's eyes could still stay afloat. So, sometime down the line, that guy might find someone who shares the same idea. He wants to have money just in case,
Oh, I see what you
to
mean.
have
Yeah,
money just in case. Or there's people who still think that money holds value, therefore with them it does.
yeah.
So in that situation, notes and coins only hold value to people who believe it does. It's this whole like it'd be so weird, wouldn't it? Because to one person's giving them 50 grand in cash would mean nothing because they can't do anything with it. But to another person who believes that that has value just for the sake of that's what they think, that could, they might give you anything. They might give you a car, they might give you a house in this apocalyptic scenario. I just think that's so weird.
That is weird. But then another thought on top of that is, if no one believed in the current system of currency, it wouldn't work. Like if we just one day all woke up and said fuck the society,
Yeah, but that's the thing,
it
though.
would not work.
That's what it works on, though, isn't it?
It
Because
works on
that
us
would
all
never happen.
believing it. So if literally every single person said fuck this and doesn't and just burns it all, it's irrelevant. And that's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think it's not. I don't think it's scary because it would never happen.
You say that, but
No, but a unification of people.
oh, you mean every
w-
single person in the
For
world?
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right. You're
even
right.
half,
But the
even
thing,
like it doesn't matter how, like a large amount of people unifying for the same purpose, which is going against society and going against economic stability, like just burning money and saying this has no value to me. That is so unlikely, I think.
it's unlikely. But then again, even in today's world, there's people around the world that are still bartering to this day.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, which is crazy. But in terms of little communities that live in islands and parts of different countries that just don't involve themselves with the current society, and so they're still living in a sort of tribal age where they're just
Do you think?
yeah, yeah, there is, yeah. I mean,
Like
we
what?
like the
Like who?
ah, I want to say
So you mean
Myanmar, but
Myanmar?
I can't be right. So somewhere in that's
Do
in
you mean like
Asia.
the tribes in like the Amazon and stuff like that?
Yeah, tribes anywhere in
Okay,
India,
yeah.
in
Yeah, yeah, no, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, I
in
get that.
Australia, like the Aborigines, etc. They
But
don't.
that's separate because they're obviously not like I don't know, I've forgotten the word for it. They're not part of, they're not involved in modern society, are they? Because they don't have, they don't experience the same day to day life, and they don't.
But that's their
y-
choice. They
Yeah, no, of
could
course
do.
it is, but it's I know they could do, but I'm just saying that there's no one who is embedded in modern society but doesn't use currency. I don't think, or at
Okay.
least maybe there is, but I don't know of it.
Okay, I see. Yeah, yeah, I see.
You know what I mean? So
No,
because
yeah, yeah.
obviously like these tribes, they are completely detached in every single way from modern society. They don't use our clothes. Actually, that's not maybe true. That might not be true at all. Um,
They might find our clothes somewhere.
yeah, or they're just given. But do you know what I mean, right? They're just they won't have a GP or they won't be on the electoral register and shit like that. And they're completely detached from modern society and all that sort of stuff. So then the idea that the idea that there's someone who is, embedded in modern society, so they just live in, they live in a village, they pay their taxes, they own a house, they have a family, but they place in that, maybe they place less value on currency. I don't know. Like, I feel like that couldn't work because
Yeah,
our entire social system is built
based on
on
current.
the idea of, self, your balance as a person.
Yeah, that's true. And so for that to disappear, it would be very hard. But let's just say, in the future where we link back to us getting chips in our body, what if
Right.
if every single person had a chip in their body? Imagine someone programming something to wipe everyone's memory of that certain topic. So imagine everyone just woke up one day, forgot about
What?
currency.
Whoa, 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 whoa! You've just gone like completely
Yeah, this is just hypothetical, obviously.
afield. I mean, I mean,
But like we were talking about before in the other podcast where the future of our technology.
if you had the power to wipe the minds of all humans on Earth, why would you erase the idea of
Because
currency?
if that, I don't know, it's like the same with like if someone has AI, they could do whatever and they get control of it. They could do whatever they want. It depends on that person.
Or within its capabilities?
Yeah, but they could. Okay, yeah, but for this point, maybe this person's had enough of rich people getting away with stuff and just says, "Fuck it, there's no more money anymore," and he wants to see the
But
world burn.
they still have material goods.
There's some material goods, but the world would just go into chaos. It would be an apocalypse. Like it would like.
Yeah, it would, but it's the the rich people. I feel like that wouldn't. All that does is uh, just create a bigger gap because then people who are less fortunate and don't have the money to survive, they don't have money. They wouldn't be able to buy food. They wouldn't be able to get it.
Well,
The
they
rich
can
people,
because they
they'd
could just
have all this
steal it.
stockpile stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
but then they've then it's become this sort of like a rat race, hasn't it? Because you're just like trying to find scraps and you're fighting each other, and it whereas the rich people are, on their private estate, no one for miles, huge house, private security, loads of cars, all this stockpiled food. I feel like just sort of saying, "Oh, money is not real." That doesn't actually help the issue.
Yeah, I agree, but my point is just, what if that person is just thinks of that? There's people out there just obviously people have different thoughts, people are different, everyone's different, but
When you say "what if," do you mean like you
this is
think it's
very
possible?
hypothetical. No, this is very hypothetical. I'm gonna suggest an idea of saying
I understand. I'm just trying to see what like point you're trying to make or like where you're
the po-
coming from.
the point I'm trying to make is like you saying you don't see it being happening. I'm just giving you an example of how it could happen, how the world could just forget money. Like
Okay.
we've seen currently in America where people are already getting chipped from their employers to show
Yeah.
to scan. Imagine,
That's different though. That's like
no, of
it's
course
a
it's
very
different, but that
basic like RFID or near field like that.
yeah, but the point is that's just the beginning. Like I'm talking about 100 years time. Like imagine
Sure.
someone
Okay.
just
Yeah.
imagine we're
Yeah.
all
No, I agree.
chipped, like cats and dogs that were just chipped, you
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
and so somehow someone involves a virus and it just fucks our memory, and so
Okay.
that's how I just think the only way it's possible is if we somehow turn into basically cyborgs. That's the only way I can see it happening. Is like
What?
if we've sort of got like robotic features inside us, like a chip, and like our brains taken over by some not neural link, but maybe a neural link, yeah. Like with Elon Musk's Neuralink at the moment that he has, like if that goes wrong and someone gets a hold of that software and fucks it up, what's gonna happen
What?
to everyone with a chip?
What do you mean?
Well, the neural link is it links to your brain, right?
Yeah, but it's not established yet though.
No, but he's I watched a podcast with him. He's like probably trying to push it for this year, like human trials this year.
This year.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you think they wouldn't be able to in this day and age implement it unless it had the sufficient security to they wouldn't allow it to happen unless it was sufficiently protected. If it was simply the case of, oh, wrong person gets hands on the software, then this person's memories are fucked. Their brain is just could be killed. Then it won't be implemented.
yeah, but then I think my point is like it's just uncharted territory. We don't know. We've never done it
Yeah.
before.
Okay.
It's
All
something
right.
new. So how do we go about with a regulatory board and saying this is not allowed or what is? Because they don't know either. Like how does How do you know until we step into that sort of future, I guess?
Well, it's not unknown. If the technology's here, then it's known.
But I mean the effects of the technology, not like uh, for example, this is a weird example, but like with vaping, vaping's fairly new, right? We don't know the long-lasting effects of it because it's so new. We don't have that research and knowledge yet. So same with the Neuralink. What
Okay.
if what if like
But long-lasting effects is different from, creating a board of rules on which to govern the implication and implementation of these sort of neural links or whatever you call them. We're going super off topic. What's
yeah,
going
okay,
on?
but yeah. All right, back to on topic though. And so we have the greenbacks that are made, and obviously nowadays I can't say, but nowadays like recently we have electronic sort of currencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that, and that's how it's
Mm.
evolved over time. And I wanted to talk about, we sort of hinted it already, but how it if like we just said, like if the world, just as just a whole hypothetical example, if the
Sure.
world had no money anymore, do you think it will be an apocalypse like from the moment there's no money? Do you think like as soon
Yeah.
as it hits news, would there
I
even be news? Like would everything just shut off?
Well, they would. No, I mean, I guess we don't know because in all these post-apocalyptic films, they always do that final news broadcast before all the chaos breaks out, don't they?
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
they're like, "Oh, stay inside, protect yourselves," or "Ever the world is coming to an end." There's always the news. It's funny because it's just like no matter how much chaos befalls the world, the news presenter still sat there in his suit, looking all formal, being very professional. So I don't know, but yeah, I think it would because I think there's a lot of people who, as soon as they know that money is no thing, they would be like, right, got to go out, got to get my stuff quickly. I've got to beat. We've seen it in the whole like pandemic
damn it, yeah,
mindset. As soon as people heard about it, people going out and buying entire stocks of toilet roll, entire stocks of pasta and face masks. Yeah, people panic buy. It'd be the same idea, but panic steal, I guess, or panic loot. Just if there's no
yeah.
money, they wanna get the supplies they need, and then the whole thing is gonna happen. People are gonna fight over stuff. It would be like the pandemic, but unlawful and thousands of times worse. I think.
It'd be like the purge in a way, but constant.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, kind of.
All you'd
Just
hear is
like free
those,
reign.
yeah, it was just the sirens and that's it.
The purge sirens 24/7, yeah. That'd be a bit chaos.
But obviously we'd have no goods being made, nothing being manufactured.
Yep. So it would just be, whatever we have right now, that's what we have to work with. There's
Uh,
the smart people who have been, cultivating farms. They're the ones who are gonna who are
Sig
gonna be
boom,
surviving it, yeah.
they only chilling. Uh, the thing that was interesting to me when I looked at this was, funny enough, there's certain professions that would, if we didn't take the route of it being an apocalypse, that certain professions that would still be alright. Because if you think about it, money determines what people do throughout the day usually, in terms of like a
Yep,
5 day week.
yep,
So when you have no money to do this job that you might not like or that you're doing,
yeah.
you'll see hobbies sort of soar, and by that I mean you'll see artists.
No,
This is
because it's
this isn't
you're in chaos.
this give it this
You're
is
not gonna find someone just sitting like, oh, no, you're not gonna begin the apocalypse by going, oh mate, I need to go get my acrylic paints. No, that's not what's gonna happen, is it? It's like
yeah,
it doesn't matter. I understand what you're saying, but it's not in practical application. I don't think it would happen
yeah,
like
in
that.
practical application, yeah.
People would be panicking. It's not a relaxed situation.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying, if it was somehow relaxed, right, and that this, let's just say the whole no money situation wasn't a surprise. It's been talked about for like years. The governments have all agreed to it, and there's some sort of, I don't know, some sort of bartering in place that works completely fine, right?
But that, I mean, all right, okay, hypothetically, yeah,
This
I'll
is
try
very
and
hypothetical, yeah,
I will really try
yeah.
and place myself in that.
like we said, we'll see. There'll be no services being done, right? There'll be no. I feel like
No jobs.
some people would still do it because of the enjoyment they have of it, right? And by
But they
that,
wouldn't because it wouldn't work. Yeah, even if you liked going to your desk and filling out your spreadsheet every day, you wouldn't be allowed because the people who open the office or the people who maintain the office would close, wouldn't it? It's not. I mean, it's not so simple as I do my job anyway. Truck drivers, they might still want to do their job, but then the guy who brings you the supplies that go in the truck won't be there. So it's just like there's
yeah,
you know
okay,
there's a chain of jobs, and as soon as one of the links break, then it doesn't work. So I don't think it's so simple as I would continue doing work. I think it would
yeah.
just
I
break
guess you're
down
right.
for
I guess
everyone.
there's no. Even if you think about it hypothetically, you can't because it just wouldn't make sense.
I mean, YouTubers, I guess, would just they'd have a great time because self-sufficient. They just keep producing videos,
True.
clickbait videos like, oh, how to survive the apocalypse,
Yeah,
best tips to survive! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! And I guess these people who are um what they work for themselves entirely,
like
and
musicians,
they are
artists, and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah. I guess that may still happen, like you say, there might be a musician who just wants nothing more from life despite the apocalypse than to make music, so they would just continue to make music. But then what platform do you release it on? Because suddenly the people who look after the Spotify servers are sat at home doing fuck all because they don't want to go in, and then there's no internet and there's no this and there's no that. It's just like a whole thing.
Yeah, and then who would run the hospitals? Who would be serving the patients?
Yeah, who in reality would the doctors volunteer to work if there was no money, if there was no benefit other than they have to, or they
Well,
have
yeah.
to, other people would die.
If you think of the volunteers that volunteer for the coronavirus, like this current pandemic, there was like 500,000 volunteers within the first couple of days. Like people that know
Yeah.
they're not going to get paid but still trying to help. That's quite
Yeah,
comforting.
okay, you may be right.
But I guess
Yeah,
it's a
that's
completely different situation where,
yeah. They
or is
still
it
have a
though?
home. No,
Like,
but it is because after they've finished their voluntary shift and they have a home to go to, they have people who are still making money in the house, right? I assume, most of them. They're not because you wouldn't volunteer unless you had the ability to do so. You're not going to find someone who needs money desperately volunteering, are you? So I think that if it all did break down, then volunteering, I feel like that wouldn't happen because people have to spend their time gathering resources, the fundamentals again.
yeah, yeah, it just all links back to the commodities that you need to survive.
Not to mention the fact that you've got to overestimate the amount that people will panic and the amount things will go wrong because people do panic, like we saw in the pandemic stuff. Like the beginning of it, people were shitting themselves, and it's funny, now you go to the shop and the likelihood that the toilet rolls out of stock is very low.
Yeah, obviously, very, very low.
But at the beginning of the pandemic, when there were only like 30 people infected in Britain, the shelves are empty in every other store. Like, so it's this whole it's a panic. It's like a societal disease in and of itself.
It's a scary thought. I don't really want to be a part of that if it ever happens. Like an apocalypse will stop.
But that's the thing. If you're not, it's this whole kill or be killed thing, isn't it? Because if you're not a part of the scenario, then you lose the resource.
What?
So it only works
My,
if everyone like agrees. It's okay. So have you watched the platform, right?
no, I have not watched Platform.
The film on Netflix. So it kind of touches on this. So it's basically about this facility that for whatever reason, people go in. They can do it as like a prison sentence or whatever. They could go in voluntarily, or whatever. But the idea is that there is this huge buffet, right,
Yep.
on this platform, and it starts at the top. There's levels. There's about like I can't remember how many it is. There's like 400 or something. So there's like 400 levels. On each level, there's two people, and in the middle of the room is this. The platform comes down through the rooms, right throughout the day. So it goes down, it stops. Goes down a level, stops. Go down a level, stops. At each level, people eat, and then after that time is over, it goes down. The idea is that if people ate what they needed to survive, then there would be food enough to feed everyone.
Mhm.
But because that's not how people are, there's people at the top who will eat until who eat until they're physically sick, and then they've already demolished like a quarter of the buffet, and it's gone down one level, and then the food doesn't last until past level 50 or something, right?
Yeah.
And then once that, the people just die. So there was this idea that so basically you switch levels every month.
Okay.
So you just get put on another random level. So you could go down to the bottom, could go down to the top.
Okay.
So it's put, it doesn't matter if you understand that if you're at the top, there's people at the top who have no empathy for the people at the bottom, even though they've been there, because they say, when I was at the bottom, I didn't get any food, so I'm now going to eat all I can.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's this whole like they wouldn't do it for me. I can't trust that they would do it for me, so I won't do it for them. Or like I have to eat now because I might not be able to eat next month. And then it's this whole
That's
chain of like
crazy.
yeah. So then there's an idea. So one of the characters in the films, she's like she begs the people below and above to just so she says, please eat like your fair share of the buffet and then prepare a ration for the people in the level below you. So she like begs the people above to do it for her, and then begs the people below to do it for the people below them. And obviously, no one cares. They're like, "Nah, fuck you. We're on a high level. We're gonna eat what we can. Those pigs below us wouldn't do the same for us." That's basically like the idea of it. So obviously, like the film isn't that hard to unpick. Like it's pretty surface level, but it's interesting because it brings up a good point. Like it is literally just kill or be killed. People have this idea, they don't trust, they don't have enough trust. There's not enough people who that they could depend on. So instead of saying I'm going to take my fair ration, and hope that everyone else also takes their fair ration and everyone gets what they need,
Yeah.
it's this idea of I'm going to take more than my fair ration because next week it might be gone and then I'll have nothing. Or I'm going to take more than my fair ration because someone else just did that. And if everyone's doing that, then I'm going to be left out if I come later. Or like next week I might not be able to eat. Is this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just like you said, kill, be killed. Take what you
Yeah.
can while you can, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like people aren't going to squander the opportunity. I think it's I don't know, it's just a
That's interesting.
flaw.
That's interesting sort of topic that it brings up then.
Yeah,
How
definitely.
how is that a whole film or a documentary?
No, it's a film. It's like a horror-ish film, but it's really good. Not okay, maybe not really good, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. I recommend it. Watching it. It's on Netflix, but yeah,
How does that
just like
finish though? How does that film finish?
would you like me to spoil it?
Actually, no, because I actually might watch that.
All right.
But I can't imagine that film sort of having a normal ending. Is it?
It
Is it?
doesn't really.
Is it an experiment?
They don't explain much of like why it's there, who runs it, blah blah blah. They just explain, you follow a main character who's in there,
Yep.
and what he does to like, try and do is he tries to bring like fairness, like because the whole
Equality,
system is
basically.
flawed. Yeah, the system is flawed, obviously,
Yeah.
because it's inciting this toxic behavior of kill or be killed deliberately.
Yeah. It's like
Because it's this whole idea if these people are if the people are fair, then everyone survives. But people are just not all the people are good. And even though all people, even though everyone in there will be experienced different levels and will be able to empathize, they don't want to because they're because we're all flawed, I guess.
it's
Because they're
because they think about the other people too much in terms of if
yeah,
everyone just thought about, oh, if I just eat this little bit, that's fine. But people overthinking it by saying when you say they don't empathize with people at the other levels because They have that mindset of I'm making the most of this opportunity while being at the top,
Exactly. It's
even
a
though I suffered
cycle.
at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a cycle. They say, I was at the bottom, I didn't eat. So now I'm at the top. Fuck the people below me who last month didn't let me eat. And now they're going to eat loads.
But they
Instead of being like, oh, there's other people who might have rationed. So I'm going to ration.
but they don't know who is where though, right? Each people don't.
No, 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 of course. But they're saying, but if you're at the bottom and you get no food, and then next month you're at the top, then whoever was above you and was contributed to you not having food is now below you.
Yep.
Therefore, you eating all you can is their comeuppance.
Okay, that makes yeah. That's a crazy top. I actually want to watch that. I reckon that'd be good.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
But yeah, and I guess in terms of it linking back to having having no money, it's like you said, it's killed or be killed. It's if
Yeah,
you just got to take the
mean,
most. You got to make the most of the opportunity that's not even opportunities. It's most of the situation that's at hand. Like,
well, I mean, you people do. I don't know if you have to. I think it,
well, it's to
it's this whole
survive. You're
thing, isn't
gonna
it? You cannot, you just can't trust people to do the same, because even though you might be good natured and you might be like, okay, I'm gonna take my ration, there might be absolutely no point in that. So you might be the first person who gets to, who arrives at the shop and gets their pick of whatever they want, but you take your fair share because you're like, that's, you want everyone to have their fair share. And then the second person who goes in buys literally everything that they possibly can, and your good deed has been wasted. And that second person now has everything they need to survive for, X number of days, and everyone else is going without anything.
and that's a prime
And
example of greed
you are no better or no worse off, but everyone else is,
because of the greed of that one person.
because of the greed of that second person. Yeah, but it's like that goes into, character traits and individual personalities. You That's the problem, isn't it? You can't. Mm, Society is too there's too many characters, and people have different ideas. You could never ever depend people without, like, thorough communication and thorough architectures in place to think along the same vein. Like, you couldn't. I feel like it's so difficult,
Yeah,
in modern society, to get people to have a common idea. uh People just will they will conflict.
yeah. You make a good point where people's character traits are so different from each other that this current society, in the way that the communication that we have with the whole world, it wouldn't allow for that to happen. Like back in the day, like when they used to do the bartering stuff, someone in I don't know America had no idea there was a bloody Australia, and so people were so focused on their own little bubble that they didn't even know there was all the other world, etc. And so the point
Hmm.
I'm trying to make is this society allows all these different character traits to blossom in each way that they're meant to, and it's sort of like there is a hierarchy of people that, that they put themselves in based on their character traits in this society. And I think
I'm lost now.
because if I don't know if you've seen this stat, but if you look at the CEOs of large companies, there's I want to find the stat. It's a big stat though, but it links to them being psychopath, like
Oh, CEOs are more likely to have traits that are aligned with psychopathy or
yeah. So
sociopathy.
1 in 5 CEOs are psychopaths, and so I think the point I'm trying to make
But that
is
makes sense, doesn't it? Because you're supposed to have
you're meant to be
the
greedy. You're meant to
decisions.
be
Yeah, the decisions that you make as a CEO are wholly in to benefit the are meant to wholly benefit the business, and are not meant to take into consideration interpersonal relationships, or the effect it has on individuals. and you've got to make big decisions which can impact lives massively. So you've got to, they have to distance themselves from the impact that it has on anything other than a company, don't they? So I mean, that would make sense. It would be advantageous to
To,
lack empathy,
yeah,
because then you wouldn't care about firing someone who is inefficient. There, so you would care, you would squeeze the last bit out that you can out of your workers. It's like Bezos does with his warehouse workers and delivery driver workers. you know the lowest wage he can possibly pay them legally, and still let them have just that tiny margin of profit. Like he makes the fattest margin of profit that he can off of each part of his business, with no regard for the people who are actually carrying out these jobs. He doesn't care about the warehouse worker, does he?
no,
Because no, of course he doesn't.
because
Because he's a
unfortunately,
CEO, because he needs to benefit the business.
yeah, and you could also argue your job can always be replaced. Unfortunately, that's just
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
yeah.
he lacks that personal empathy with people, because the businesses are too large scale, and the CEOs, they do not care.
Then again, someone that busy, like he probably doesn't have time to meet every single one of his employees. Like,
I'm not
how's
saying
it?
he has to, but it
But
doesn't
you feel
doesn't mean
more
he's not
empty when you
aware
have
of
that.
them.
It's not. Of course,
Yeah,
he's
but
aware, but
that's the thing. That's the thing, though, isn't he? He isn't aware because he probably doesn't visit the warehouses. He doesn't talk to the people. Therefore, he's perfectly happy because he's in the dark. He doesn't have to see the conditions that they work in, or how
yeah,
hard
that's
they
true.
work,
Yeah.
or what little money they earn. Therefore, he has no empathy for them, and he can sort of block it out, and he's just fine with it. Wherefore, but if if he had to do their job for a day, I guarantee you his empathy would be heightened massively.
It's yeah.
And
Yeah. Of course.
it happens along. It's a huge problem with capitalism now, and the way big businesses are run now. These people at the bottom of the chain, and they are abused in terms of the work they put in is abused. They are not given their fair share for what they're doing. So stuff you think about. Remember when coronavirus first broke out and
Yep.
first hit the US, and Elon Musk was like trying to get his workers back into factories.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, obviously he was getting his workers back in the factory because he doesn't give a fuck if they get coronavirus. Because you know what happens if they do?
What?
They get the next bloke in, mate, because they will be begging
Oh
for a
yeah. Of
job.
course. Yeah.
Because any job will have, especially at somewhere like Tesla, shit tons of applicants, even in the factory work. So he doesn't care because all he wants is profit. He got to keep those profit margins up.
Yeah, but there's another factor that he truly believes that the coronavirus is a load of bollocks. So he factored in that.
Did he actually?
Yeah, because there was literally a podcast with him and Joe Rogan while this was
Where he said it's
happening.
not real.
Yeah, there's a whole you can
Yeah,
watch
but
it.
how could you possibly believe that?
He just because it's true. Because if you look at the hospital admissions and how they submit the death certificates, if someone dies,
You're saying it's true.
no, let me. I think the way that the deaths are recorded are very oversaturated. Because, hear me out. Because the
I
people,
think they're undersaturated in the UK.
maybe in the UK, but from what I've heard them saying, the way the hospital records the deaths is if they have coronavirus like symptoms, but they die by getting hit by a car, they'll be they'll be put down as dead by corona.
Yeah, but how many people are
I know how
part of that
many people,
statistic? So few, so
but
few.
even like having a heart attack, but if they have corona, they're dead. That's corona. Like,
Yeah, but it doesn't. I understand where you're coming from. Fair enough. Doesn't mean it's not true, is it? Like
no, of course not.
if he's saying that they have coronavirus symptoms, then surely he's admitting the existence of coronavirus. Therefore, he's admitting that it has an effect on people. So
No,
it
yeah,
doesn't
no.
matter whether or not he believes it's real or whether the
No,
statistics are accurate.
he
He's
believes
still
it.
lacking.
He believes it's real, but he doesn't believe the actual severity of it is that severe. Because
Well,
and the other stat to boost his sort of view is if you look at the age of the people that are dying, most of the people that are dying aren't people that would be working in his factory.
Yeah, but like it's you've also got to take into account the idea that also now we're seeing these studies emerge where we see that there's long-term effects to coronavirus. It's not like a you have it, you get better, you're fine. There's people who are going to be having severe health difficulties for the rest
Oh
of their
yeah,
life
no,
now.
yeah, you're right, yeah.
So the idea that someone so absurdly intelligent believes that it's okay for his factory workers to go back to work in the midst and the growth, before the first peak of the US pandemic. But it's not him truly believing it's not a problem. I think it is just lack of empathy, lack of care. He doesn't care.
Just cares about the money more than that.
Yeah, man. Of course he does.
Yeah, that's
All
unfortunate.
CEOs will. I mean, maybe not all actually. That's generalizing, but I think
I think a
the
lot of them do,
majority, the majority of them do not care.
because that's their job at the end of the day. They have
Yeah,
to make their
it is.
business work,
Then it is
otherwise.
just. It is not. It's you can't really do that. You can't have lack of empathy for your workers because then it just doesn't work,
True, true, true.
or it shouldn't work, but it does. It's a huge issue right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just absorbing that information, like.
All right. That's just my opinion. I know I
No,
went off on a bit of a rant, but
no, but yeah, but that's the whole point of a podcast, is to almost debate
yeah,
both sides of viewpoints.
yeah.
That's why I
And I'm
took
glad.
Elon's
I'm glad
side.
you're there to balance me out. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, you just want to see like both perspectives of why someone could
Yeah.
be making that decision. Otherwise, it's a bit biased.
Of course, and you can also argue the fact that there will be CEOs of bigger businesses out there that would have put in a lot of measures in place to protect their workers, and especially in lieu of the pandemic. So not CEOs aren't gonna all be evil. You can't generalize people because that's then if you say all CEOs are evil, then that's me stating an opinion based on nothing because I haven't personally met. I mean, even the opinions that I formed on Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and any other CEOs who I potentially may dislike because of their lack of empathy in the way they treat their workers, it's not based on me having an hour to get to know them and chatting to them face to face. It's based on information that I've read online. You can never truly draw up a conclusive opinion factually. You can't say all CEOs lack empathy
Yeah,
unless you have personally met or there's factual evidence backing up that argument for every single CEO. You can't. It holds true to a lot of arguments. And reminds me of one. I'm not going to go into it, but it reminds me of one popular movement that's about at the moment, which generalizes a certain group, and it it just I don't know. It seems quite abrasive to me and quite ignorant to assume that to assume the characteristics and behavioral ideals of a large group of people based on several individuals.
yeah. I know what you're talking about, but you want to get into that? I saw it.
No,
I saw an interesting stat about that though, but we'll leave it at that then.
I mean, what's the interesting stat?
Well, so I guess you're talking about police force, right? Or police officers.
Yeah, yeah,
So for a police officer in the US to get into the force, it's between 6 to 8 months to for their program, right? For this
right.
program to, and then you're in the force, right?
Mm.
Whether it's intense or not, if you think about the stat was law students, right? It takes them around roughly on average 8 years to become a qualified lawyer, right? So
Yeah,
imagine practicing the law for 8 years, but you're allowed to enforce the law, and it only takes you 8 months.
I'd also like to note now that being a commercial airline pilot takes less hours than like joining the police force in the US.
Takes less.
Less.
Wait, how far? How much? Like 5 months, 4 months?
I can't remember the months. I think it was something like 300 hours.
Shut up.
Like, yeah, it was less. It was less time than because there was obviously that famous. There's a famous picture of it only takes this many hours to be a police officer and
Yep.
then this many to do it. Yeah, so commercial airline pilot was less. So it's like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but then also that doesn't entirely back up the idea of generalizing
No, it
policing
doesn't.
because
I don't think you should generalize at all. It's horrible.
no, because yeah, that's me. I understand that people are frustrated that they should have more training. Maybe they should. Yeah, they should. But it's just gonna go back
It's
into
yeah,
something.
it's
I don't
fine.
want
It's
to get
fine.
into it.
Let's leave it. We'll leave it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll leave
Mm.
it.
Controversial opinions and all that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy with that. If you wanna end here.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to go wherever.
I feel like I've talked my mind on that on the idea of no money. I mean, it was a short one, but it's just like the concept
That
of
wasn't
it.
that short. Hour 20. Oh, an hour. I guess hour 10.
But it's just the idea of it is interesting to me. Like the whole
Yeah.
concept of it and how we've evolved over time. I don't know. It's just interesting to me. I thought some people might find it interesting as well.
No. I found it. See, I mean, going into it, I obviously, like I said, no preparation. Wasn't really sure what to expect, but it got interesting because obviously money governs a lot of socio-economic behavior and socio-economic structure. So, and then the impact it has on us generally as citizens of a developed country is interesting,
It is.
and the prospective impact it would have on the world if it didn't exist in terms of social and just generally, I guess, is also interesting. So yeah, I feel like I've thought a lot into it now,
Good,
which
good,
is
good.
good.
That's the whole point of these.
Yeah.
Alright.
I like to suggest. So I like to suggest a topic.
Please do, please do. I'm all ears.
Yeah. Okay. Wait here. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I got it. So yesterday, right?
Yep.
Yesterday, I had a night where I couldn't sleep. So I was looking on Reddit for books recommendations, and I came across a really good review, a really interesting review for a book called "I'm Thinking of Ending Things," and I started reading it, and I got like properly into it. Like literally, I was reading it until like 3:30 last night.
Yeah.
Um, really interesting book. Highly recommend so far. And the beginning of the book is basically just two fairly intellectual and intelligent people who are in a relationship, and so they're on a car drive so the girlfriend's meeting the boyfriend's parents,
Yeah.
and their conversations throughout the car trip are really, really interesting. There's they talk about philosophy, they talk about love, and a lot of stuff. It's really interesting, as well as disturbing. There's a lot of disturbing parts as well, but yeah.
Yeah.
um so there was this one that I highlighted just because I thought I read it over like so many times. I don't know if it was just me being tired, but it also made me really think about it. So it was like, the idea that we are better off with one person for the rest of our lives is not an innate truth of existence. It's a belief that we want to be true.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
So then the character sort of just said that and then basically argued this idea that are we I don't know. I can't.
You
Ugh.
can't articulate it.
Yeah, I've forgotten the exact wording, but basically she was just saying, do we think we're going to be happier than we are when we don't have anyone, um, and then when we do have someone, we are not as happy as we expected to be, and we want to be alone. So it's just the whole idea that in reality, are we just so convinced that we don't want to be alone that we make it such a huge deal of not being alone. Like, you know, people in life, almost everyone, like the huge proportion of people search for a partner.
Yep.
And why? Like, can we not be alone? Like, I just thought that would be an interesting thing to discuss.
Yeah,
Like,
I've already got some good points, but I don't obviously won't say them now.
just the idea of being alone versus being in a relationship. Just because, obviously, being in a relationship is something that we are we believe that needs to, a lot of people believe needs to happen.
Yeah, it just links
Like I
back to
say,
society,
it's
isn't it?
not. Yeah, it's not an innate part of existence. We're born alone, we die alone. Why do we need to live with other people?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. I've got some good points
All
already in my
right,
head, but yeah, I think that'd be. How
cool,
would
cool,
we
cool.
title that though? What would that be titled?
Um, is it okay to be alone? I don't know.
That's a good one actually. Is it okay? That's good. Yeah, yeah, I like that.
All right, yeah. So yeah,
We'll get a guest on as well. We'll make sure we get a guest on. 'Cause I think it's
yeah,
good getting a
definitely,
third opinion as well.
100%. But yeah, yeah, it made me think a lot, and I've been thinking about it today as well. So do think about it and read the book if you do, because I think it's got some great. I've been highlighting away. Like, I've got another quote here that from the book was like, sometimes a thought is closer to truth, to reality, than an action. You can say anything, you can do anything, but you can't fake a thought.
Whoa, that's true.
I was literally, I kept reading it, and I was just like trying to get my head around it, and probably it's it's so weird to think. I mean, obviously, it might seem a bit like straightforward, but to me, like at that time, I was just like, shit, yeah,
No, you're
that's
right.
right.
The thoughts that you have in your head, you can't fake them. They're there. Like you can't.
Yeah,
You could say like something, but if it's an actual thought that's pops in your head, then you can't fake that.
exactly. And anything, something that you say might not be genuine, and something that you do might not reflect what you truly feel. But when you have a thought, there's no aspect of authenticity to it, because a thought is innately authentic, because it has to be, because it's thought.
And it's only expressed via words or actions. So
Yeah,
sometimes the true meaning of that thought will never be known because you can't.
exactly.
Whoa, that's
Yeah,
too much. We're leaving it at that, bro.
innit?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I thought it was really
That's a good one.
interesting.
That's a good one. That'd be excellent. I'm down
All
for
right,
that.
nice.
All right.